I guess we will describe Nagios and NAGCAT as well. So Nagios is a system that gives you a stoplight status of the hosts on your network. So you can basically get, is it down, is it up, is there some kind of warning or problem, things like that. And it keeps track of those, stores those, displays those, does all that. But obviously you need tests for Nagios to actually have something to look at to get this stoplight status. So NAGCAT handles running those tests, and it handles configuring those tests. So if I want to do something like test for system load average, I can figure that as a test in NAGCAT. NAGCAT will run that test and store the status in Nagios. But one thing that Nagios can't do very well, and pretty much at all, is show you nice graphs of that data that you got. About all it can do is tell you, was it working or was it not working? So what NAGCAT also does is stores information on the state of the system. So like on system memory, you can see how much memory is being used, how much is being cached, how much are buffers, things like that. But obviously we need a way to graph that information. And NAGCAT, we created here, actually by Marino, we made it. So, there isn't some system we can just deploy on. There are some comparable systems that kind of do what we want to do, but nothing that is as flexible as what we've built. So basically, at the very basic, it displays these graphs. But a couple nice things that we did was it uses Ajax to pull in data. So for instance, if I'm trying to look at this problem and you can see system load average on this machine spiked to 4, all of a sudden, and the used memory was spiking too as well. So something happened. So what we can do is zoom in, and it's hard to see on this monitor that we've selected. And now you can see, all right, now we can look more in detail at the error. What time was the error? We can actually see it directly. And you can see, pretty much it was at exactly 9:51 we had the problem. So it's nice to zoom in, whereas, we had an older interface for this, and other more traditional interfaces, all I can look at is today, this week, this month, this year. You can't really zoom in and take a look at more information. So that's the first nice thing. The second nice thing is...
What is the source that it requests the zoom?
Yeah, we get so the JavaScript plugs into our Python, which is using the IRD library to get the data out of the IRDs that NAGCAT store. So it basically does some flexing on that data to turn it into a format that our graphing library can take to actually generate this box right here, which has the graphing. So the other big thing is what we like to call the configurator, so on a lot of these traditional interfaces you get a couple views. You get an overview, you get a view of the host, which just gives you today's graph of all the services, and then you get a graph of the service, which gives you that day, week, month, year thing. But that's about all you can do. If I wanted to, for instance, look at all of the QRS instances, and I wanted to see QRS alive, for all of them on one page, you can't really do that. So what the configurator does is it lets you define filters. I can filter like a host and then a service, so I can look at only the service on that host. I can do a service in a group, which is all services in that group. I could do just a host, which is all services running on that host, etc. And I can add the results of that filter to my page. So I can define a couple filters, add all of them, and define a custom page containing whatever different graphs that I needed to try and diagnose the problem, or just if it was something that I wanted to view the status of in general and I wanted to come back to, or just leave refreshing on my computer, I could define it and come back to it later with a link. And so then, beyond that, it's just some pleasantries like you could also define if say you wanted 7 out of 10 hosts on or services on a host, instead of having to add each one by one, I could just add the entire host, X out the ones that I don't want, and then display it that way. So it tries to be flexible to let you do get the graphs on the page any way that you think is the easiest for you to do.
If I zoom in or out beyond the scale of the graph that I'm looking at, will it use the next ring of the RRD to replace that view?
If you try and zoom beyond the scope of the RRD data, it won't let you zoom any further.
But the RRD data contains slices that are at different aggregate levels, right? So if I'm viewing the hourly graph and I zoom to the point where the hourly graph is...
Well, so what it does is it has no concept of these four, like styles. Today, week, the only thing it has a concept of, I have a time period starting here and a time period starting here, and I want up to 100 data points between that time period. Give me them. So if you zoom in more, it will say, RRD, give me up to 100 data points in this zoom level. If you can't do that, let me know. And if it can't, so if it can give you 5, we'll just take 5. And we'll display the 5 that we can. Like you see here, that's not 100 data points. We're only polling every 30 seconds here. You can start to see the jagginess of too few data points.
And
but
if,
it'll
if,
display it.
But
But
you try to zoom further, like, let's say, over like a 30-second interval, it will,
no.
it will
There
give
you
you
go.
an error.
So if I try to zoom beyond the scope of the RD's data, it just says, I can't zoom any further, sorry, and won't let you do that, because, there's no data to zoom. But
Except
otherwise,
for the aggregate data.
yeah, but it doesn't let you zoom past, when the aggregate data becomes straight lines. These are pretty much straight lines at this point.
Sure, so there you're zooming in. So if you zoom out, right,
Yeah.
and then you come up with 100 data points. So if you're on the day,
Yeah.
click on the day, and now zoom out.
Or zooming out is
Yeah,
basically...
basically you start at a certain time period and then narrow it down from there.
Since
So
we
there's
have
no,
like
there's
a,
no zooming out.
yeah, we have a click and
Because we're not
drag
sure
zoom
exactly
in.
how far you would want to zoom out.
Right.
So you just choose a starting time period and narrow down from there.
Is there any way to lock graphs in the configurator so that I can zoom them at the same time?
Yes. You check keep graphs in sync, and when I adjust one graph, all of them will fall out and do the exact same behavior.
Machine's a bit slow,
Yeah,
so...
this confused me. We've got an optimization that we haven't tossed in there yet, which will solve the slowness on this machine. But some of them.
What's the slowness caused by?
Nagios object parser.
Yeah, one of the parsers that we're using, one of the libraries that was built, not by us.
Not our
I
fault.
can't write parsers in Python.
It's exceedingly slow. As a matter of fact, it's 97% of the execution time of every time it slows down. So we're just building we're building into one of the daemons to NagCat that's already running something that reparses it on a change, and then we just are going to fetch, which should, instantly kick out any delay, because right now the actual execution time of our project is like 100 milliseconds or something like that, so tolerable delay.
If you have the graphs kept in sync, does changing the time scale stay in sync also?
Yes.
Any operation will change all of the graphs. Like if I go back to live view, which, where did my mouse go? So if I go back to live view, you can see they all go back to live view. And in live view, it's also Ajax updating. It's truly live. Every minute, all the graphs will refresh and give me the latest data. So they will all go back to being all stuck on the latest data.
All set? Thank you so much.
Okay.